Madness Championship Saturday in Philadelphia. Over the last 2 days, 80 men have earned the title of All-American. Today, they will battle to determine their place on the podium. These medal rounds set the stage for tonight's championship finals on ESPN. March Madness rolls on in Philly. Hello and welcome to MATCAST coverage here on ESPN Plus. Always great to have you with us. Shane Sparks alongside four-time ACC champion, five-time All-American Trent Hidley. Trent, it's been a grueling couple of days. This round, it's about representing more than yourself.
You said it. It's been a grueling 2 days. These athletes are beaten up. They don't feel good. They're battling through a lot. It says a lot about their toughness right now and how they're going to battle through these last couple matches. We will determine third place through eighth place this session. Tonight, of course, the championship finals on ESPN, 7 Eastern Time. How about 184 pounds, Trent? Something's got to give. It doesn't get much better than this. 184, Carter Starace chasing history, a five-time national championship on the line against Parker Keckeisen, looking to repeat as a champ as well.
It has been so much fun working with you, Trent, but you are used to being down on the floor, battling on that Resolite. Now you're in the booth. What's this been like for you?
It's a different kind of action. As a fan, I love it. Being able to watch almost every single match. As a competitor, you're really locking in on yourself, but this has been such a great experience. We've loved doing it with you guys at home. Let's go finish this last round.
It has been a blast. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. It's been great engaging. Get out your phone once again. Scan that QR code for our poll question. That has been a lot of fun the past couple of days. Great to hear from the fans. Again, thank you so much for joining us here on MATCAST. Mat number one, it is the number one seed, Luke Lillidahl and Eddie Van Treska. Matt Ramos and Sheldon Seymour on mat number two, upper right. On the bottom, it is Zan Fugit and Braden Davis. Connor McGonigal and Zeth Romney. Zan Fugit has had a great finish to the season, and the Badger leading Davis 3-0 early in this first period.
He had a great takedown. You saw that Turk. He almost got a turn. He got one count. Davis did a good job of turning down, but man, we could talk all day about Zan Fugit. Awesome momentum for Wisconsin. This was big for them. They wanted to have some guys come out here. We saw Nicolas Rivera have a good tournament, but Fugit getting himself on the podium and starting off Saturday morning hot.
The winner of this Davis-Fugit match will wrestle for third place. Zeth Romney, a 3-0 lead on McGonigal. No score with Van Treska and Lillidahl. What's it like, Trent, when you're bruised, you're battered? As we talked about the grueling 2 days, how do you get yourself ready mentally to come out here and compete?
It takes a lot of heart to compete today. I made the finals twice. I was in the consies twice. This is just such a hard time to wrestle. When you lose in the semis or you're in those constellations and you're coming back, you feel so terrible by this morning. Some guys have a hard time getting out of bed. You cut weight all night, but you're an All-American, and now it's wrestling for pride. You're wrestling for your school, and you know it's easy to bow out, but the toughest guys in the country show up on Saturday morning and they put it all on the line, and there's so much mutual respect across the board as competitors. And my brother and I like to call it the Wasteland Invitational. It sucks, right? There's no other way to put it. You hate wrestling in this round, but you also love it. At the core, as a competitor, there's nothing you'd rather do than when you're feeling your worst, go out and try your best.
The winners of these matches will wrestle for third place. For those that fall in this round, they will wrestle for fifth place. Our seventh place matches, those have already been established. Determining places 3 through 8. Championship finals tonight. 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN. Lillidahl goes on bottom to begin this second period. Short time on mat number 2, Matt Ramos, now a 2-time All-American, leading Sheldon Seymour 3-1. after the first 3 minutes. Good start for Zeth Romney. Pair of takedowns. And he'll look to finish that period on top with running time already at 1:16. The Badger Fugit pops to his feet quickly off the whistle, fighting hands, looking to extend his lead. Davis, good ride. Mat return there by the Nittany Lion. And good hip separation there by Fugit. Adds to his lead now 4-1.
Yeah, great match down here on mat 3. How about Zeth Romney with this response? Lost in the semifinals against Conor McGonigal, who's had a ton of momentum throughout the tournament. 2 takedowns in the first period to go up 6-1.
Romney last night lost to Lucas Bird of Illinois.
This was a great drag on mat 3. Davis took a shot. Zan Fugit, great drag, re-attack in on that single. See how he's pulling him back in? That's great. You got to be ready for Braden Davis to attack those ankles. So you see how he's keeping his head in position, staying low. Now he's reaching for that hip. Just got the takedown there. Great technique, great single leg finish. The best guys we've seen have been able to finish those single legs and avoid the defensive guy diving in on an ankle or getting to their defensive positions.
Braden Davis and Luke Lillidahl, 2 of the 10 All-Americans for the Nittany Lions. Penn State making history, and those 10 All-Americans, Trent, will all place top 6. Of course, 3 in the finals later on tonight. Minnesota in 2001, the only other team in college wrestling history to have 10 All-Americans. That Gopher team did not have a finalist. Phenomenal team under legendary coach Jay Robinson. But this tournament Penn State has had has been amazing.
It's been really impressive, and you know the crazy thing to think about is they've got 10 All-Americans, like you said, all in the top 6, and it almost seems like it's been a disappointment for them, and that's just the set standard that they've set, and I think it goes to show why they've been so good, because they expect so much, especially in that semifinal round. But yeah, those guys have been doing work on the backside, and 10 All-Americans. Truthfully, I never thought we would see that again. I know Minnesota did it in 2001, and just with how good guys are now at the individual level, it is really impressive.
The grade for Penn State, in my humble opinion, it's an A+. 10 All-Americans on the cusp of winning yet another team title. It'll be the 12th and 14 tournaments for Cael Sanderson and the Nittany Lions. That is amazing. It's really hard to comprehend that level of excellence.
Well, and I think why it is because you look at the formula that Cael Sanderson really put together to win team titles. It's, we might not have to have as many All-Americans as long as we get a lot of champs, and that's kind of what they build it off. And now this year, putting 3 guys in the finals who all have a good opportunity to win, but then also really rounding off and getting all of those All-Americans, it's a testament to the way he just continues to build.
Matt Ramos, a 6-2 lead, early third on mat number 2 as him and Seymour wrestle neutral. Lillidahl, the 1-point lead on Van Truska.
You know what's awesome about these matches, too, and I just saw it on mat 3. Fugit took Braden Davis out of bounds, and Coach Chris Bono giving a smack to the Penn State coaching staff. These coaching staff, they've seen each other all season long. There's so much emotions, and as competitors, you respect each other. The coaches respect each other so much, but they fight for their athletes so much. They want these wins, and it's so important in these rounds as a school for your guys to continue to build. And obviously a Big Ten matchup, it's a lot of emotions are on the line in a lot of different ways.
You said it before, this is big for Wisconsin. It's been a tough year as Davis darts in. Still got that ankle of Fugit's. Great hip action there from Fugit with the defense, but Chris Bono, John Reeder, talked to John last night. One of the best guys you will ever meet is John Reeder, and he made history in this building back in 2011, beat Nick Amuchastegui of Stanford. That iconic picture of John Reeder with the head wrap, but super proud of Zan Fugit and the effort of the Badgers at the national tournaments.
That picture was my lock screen when I was a little kid. I imagine it was a lock screen for a lot of other kids on their phone. Just legendary picture.
National champion at Iowa State. Van Truska and Lillidahl 1-1. Riding time and on factor. That is mat number 1 down to 45 seconds. And on mat number 2, Matt Ramos of Purdue. What a career he has had, and he will now wrestle for 3rd place And you know me, Trent, you and I are on the same page on this. I love those guys that get the next best thing. Ramos will go for third.
Yeah, you saw Ramos lost a really tough match to Spratley in the quarterfinals. Won in the blood round over Trevor Anderson, another win over Caleb Smith, and now Sheldon Seymour. You start looking at those wins that these guys are racking up on the backside. It's just really good wrestling.
Short time with the Hokie and the Nittany Lion.
Ventresca is so hard to score on. I haven't seen anybody take him down more than twice in a match this season. Recent in the second half of the season, obviously a couple matches earlier, but he really tightened up his defense. Watch him, they come back to the restart in this overtime. He's lived in overtime matches. Sometimes he gets down on a knee and stays really low. It just makes it hard to get any offense going against somebody like that.
The ACC champion and the Big Ten champion, a sudden victory. 2 minutes on the clock on mat number 1. Zan Fugit of Wisconsin will wrestle for third place at 133. New action on mat number 2 with CJ Composto and Cale Happel. And Luke Lillidahl has those legs corralled. The Nittany Lion going for third. I just love the emotion from Lillidahl. This guy loves to compete. You look at his body language. He's always first back to the center. He's got great speed, high attack rate. It is go, go, go. He's a true freshman. He's been fantastic, and he'll go for third.
He really is, and one thing that Penn State, when they get these guys that are really highly recruited, what you're getting out of guys like that is poise and experience. Lillidahl has won multiple world championships. That is experience that you don't just get. Like, you can't get that from somebody. You have to earn that. And coming into situations like this, a lot of pressure matches, coming into a third day, wrestling back to back, they have that experience. And all these great guys, that's really what you want to look for when you're recruiting high school kids. You want to see how they compete in a multiple day tournament. It's not just, how do you do when you're on the championship side? I want to see how you respond when you lose in a quarterfinal match, when you get upset and you have to come back and try to fight back for third.
2 more Nittany Lions on the Resolite with Bo Bartlett on mat number 1, Shane Van Ness on mat number 3. Mat number 4, Dylan D'Amelio and Lachlan McNeil, a pair of All-Americans. Composto and Happel, midway through the first frame, 0-0.
Interesting match on mat 3. Styles has had a great tournament. He's really funky and hard to score, and you see Van Ness had a great attack, created a scramble. Now he's in on his offense. He'll look to do this the whole match. Van Ness, who's really fundamentally sounding. Look, he has got this cradle. Styles is sometimes kind of dangerous from here, though. What you don't want if you're Van Ness is let him get that arm out, keeping his hands locked. If you're Van Ness, try to get him to that far hip.
He's got that cradle, trying to rock it back.
But what I was saying, sometimes Styles uses his position to his advantage.
Van Ness trying to put Styles on his back, and he's looking for a fall. Shane Van Ness gets the slap of the Resolite. He'll go for third.
He was really patient there. Styles, who's funky, always trying to roll there, got the cradle, got him to the far hip, exposed him to his back, and got the fall.
A fall in 1:06 for Shane Van Ness. I always love the bow from Van Ness.
Catering to the crowd.
Bo Bartlett falling last night to rival Jesse Mendez. Those guys have been 3-3 the past 2 seasons. Bartlett up on Coder Hunt of Navy. Coder Hunt, though, in position. Single leg, looking for the trip and the cover. Bo Bartlett so tough to score on, a great scrambler. One of the best athletes in all of college wrestling. You follow Bartlett on Instagram?
Yeah, I do.
Holy
He's always doing
smokes.
those flips, right?
Follow Bo Bartlett on Instagram. The stuff he's able to do, his body control, his body awareness. Inside of a minute. And these are the opportunities, Trent, in these kind of matches. If you are Coder Hunt, this is a golden opportunity. You got to find a way to finish.
Yeah, you really got to get this takedown there. There he worked for it. He got the hands touched, got that takedown. Now, if he can ride this out, it's huge. And the big thing was his response. Bartlett's really good on top. He got that takedown. Coder Hunt responded with a quick escape, got to his leg attack. It took him probably close to 45 seconds to finish that. Huge opportunity for Navy here. And Coder Hunt has really responded well. That first match that he had this tournament had to win in overtime, lost to Cale Happel in the quarterfinals, and then came down and had a crazy win over Tegan Jameson in the blood round.
And that emotion he had last night. Barraclaw and Hall, no score, 45 seconds in there on mat number 3. Such a fun night of wrestling with the semifinals and the blood round. Another great session here. I love this round. Great matches. D'Amelio and McNeil 0-0.
Oh, you look at that UNI singlet. Is that a... I don't know if they had West Jim on the back of that singlet. We'll have to see when Hackle turns around. Really, really cool if they did. I like that purple singlet. And I'll tell you what, it's not that easy to pull off purple, and nobody does it better than UNI. I always think their singlets are great.
I went to the West Gym for one dual meet. It was Northern Iowa versus Wisconsin, and the Panthers on that Saturday put it on them. That place was so loud. It was one of the best dual meet environments I have ever seen.
Dual meets are king.
Yes, they are. Was talking to head coach Mike Gray of Cornell. Interesting conversation with him and talking about the challenges and the reviews. And he had an interesting point, getting off track here a little bit, but that if you review or you challenge, it's a point if you lose. Just like freestyle. I like that. I think these officials have been phenomenal. As Dylan D'Amelio, right there on the edge, might get some back points.
See how he's kept the legs split. He's going to get 2 back points there. He should. He does get 2 back points. That was a great job by D'Amelio. He put Lachlan McNeil down, and instead of climbing to the body right away, stayed in between the legs and then creeped himself up. And that is really hard. When you get taken down, you really have nowhere to go. He got the takedown and the 2 back points.
Dylan D'Amelio, 5-1 lead. I bring that up just because you and I have been tossing ideas back and forth on different things within the sport. And you and I agree on it's been everything except that you kind of like that push out.
Like the push out.
And I'm saying vote no on the push out, Trent. Vote no.
I don't hate the push out, and I want to get rid of headgear. I know you like the headgear. I was saying we didn't see a lot of team points. NC State did get a team point taken away after Vince Robinson's win.
Yes.
And, you know, and I have 2 views on it, right? As an athlete, you know you're not supposed to throw your headgear. When you win in the national semifinals,
they should take that rule away at the NCAA championships.
You have so much emotion going through your veins. You want to throw something. You want to punch something. All you want to do is just celebrate. And in the moment, you really can't control what you do with that headgear. And, yeah, I mean, a team point is huge. You look at, you know, a lot of talk about team champion and top 4. Being top 10 is a really big deal for a lot of reasons. And for a lot of reasons that people may not understand, you get a lot more ticket access from teams if you get that top 10. And a lot of times those are decided by point, half point. So a point, when you're just a win on the championship side, is only 1 point. So Vince Robinson had won a match on the championship side, and because that headgear throw basically gets taken away, and it's just huge points. And you don't want to see the team race be decided by things like that. I get the headgear throw, but I mean, let's get real.
Look at Bo Bartlett, gets a reversal, and he has reclaimed the lead on Coder Hans. 1.5 minutes to go in that 3rd period. Mat number 1, riding time a non-factor. Dylan D'Amelio, he's part of my Shane Sparks all nails team, my all grit team. Dylan D'Amelio, they don't come much grittier than Dylan D'Amelio.
He's had a great career. And we talked about it a lot, how big the Ohio State coaches are with him, but he really is an athlete. He's a coach's dream. He does everything right. He competes the way you want him to, and you know, he's taken losses in his career, never with a lack of effort, and that's something that you can always live with. If my effort's high and I lose, I'm okay with that. And in the long run, you get rewarded for that. You're seeing D'Amelio have his best tournament to date. Not CJ Composto up on the right screen. Big win over Cale Happel. He came in as a 10 seed, won his first match in overtime, took out Taken Jameson, lost to Bo Bartlett, and it's just battled back in the con season.
How about this, Trent? I'm not surprised we're seeing Tyler Kasak versus Meyer Shapiro. I didn't exactly think we'd be seeing it this round, but this right here sums up this tournament. These 2 guys, the top 2 seeds, phenomenal talents, wrestling for the right to go to 3rd.
It's incredible, and that's why you show up for this round, right? That's why you tune in on MATCAST this morning for these types of matches.
If this is a dual meet on a Friday night, it is must-see television. It is must-see on this Saturday here in Philadelphia. Terrell Barraclaw trailing Peyton Hall now 3-1, second period. 6-6 on mat 1. Coder Hunt and Bartlett 10 seconds away from a sudden victory.
If you're Coder Hunt, you had that single leg, you got to find a way to set that up again. Against somebody like Bartlett, it's really hard to score the same way twice, but you also want to keep in your mind, if I've scored that way before, I can probably score that way again if I get there. Bartlett has got his takedowns of his own, and he lives in these overtime situations, so Coder Hunt, be careful over pursuing, but you also want to be the aggressor.
Shapiro last season, and Kasak as well, All-American performances. Short time on mat number 4. Dylan DeMilio riding time locked up. The Buckeye will go for third place here at 149. And with the riding time point, it's a 7-1 decision. And Bo Bartlett puts Coder Hunt on his back, up on the top left. Bo Bartlett in sudden victory. The Nittany Lion will go for third. Guts for Bartlett.
Yeah, and I talked about Coder Hunt being careful over pursuing. He got that front headlock. He just exposed himself just a little bit. Bartlett hit a great little duck under, get to the body for the match-winning takedown.
Tough loss last night to Jesse Mendez. Bartlett grinds one out. There's that smile from Bartlett. I'll have to get another look, Trent. Is he still rocking the mustache, or did he shave it?
I think I saw the mustache.
Okay.
It's a good question. I didn't look at the mustache. I was too busy.
A very, very important question.
Well, I was too busy looking at the two different shoes. That's not...
you know that story?
I don't know that story.
So the story is, when he was younger, he's at a wrestling tournament, and he loses one of his shoes. So his dad told him, when they were looking for some other shoes, you don't want to use somebody else's pair of shoes because then you have two shoes that don't fit.
Yep.
So you need one shoe. So you'll have one shoe that fits, one shoe that doesn't. And so he's kind of, continued that at different points in his career, and that is why Bo Bartlett wears two different pair of shoes.
Interesting. Very interesting.
No score with Shapiro and Kasak. Final 10 seconds. Good scramble here to close out this first period. And that should be 3 for Kasak.
I think that should be 3, so you get that far leg in. Meister did have a grip on that arm, and the referees are looking at it right now, and that's a correct decision right there. But what I like what the referees did was let it play out. Sometimes, and this is where reviews get really tricky, when refs award a takedown, and they go back, they have to look at that point. Whereas if you let it play out, then they can go back to review and say, we have a little more flexibility with overturning this call. So I like how they let it play out, and then they'll go look at the review, and then they can make the right decision.
So Cornell, ironically, we talked about Mike Gray earlier with these challenges, but it's a situation right now where they have some left, and why not?
Well, especially, and you don't have any wrestlers in the finals, so this is a big opportunity for you. You want to use that challenge. It was relatively close, and it wasn't a factor of time because he was in the same position for a few seconds. My first glance is that it was a takedown. Like I said, I like how they let it play out, but obviously they're going to look at it. I would imagine that it stays as a takedown.
My guess is this, and I don't want to speak for Coach Gray, but bring this point up. It's a situation where you got nothing to lose, but if you said it's going to cost you a team point, or not a point in this match, my guess is they wouldn't challenge it.
Yeah, I think you're right with the, because it is a challenge that you think probably isn't going your way, you wouldn't risk giving up another point.
So that would be one of those things. Give me the magic wand. I like Coach Gray's suggestion in my conversation with him earlier today. Just like freestyle, and you know me, Trent, I like freestyle wrestling. I love folk style wrestling. But that is one thing I love about freestyle. There is a consequence for a lost challenge.
Yeah.
I think if you make it a point, you would see far, far less challenges, because the reality is these officials do a phenomenal job. I want to say about 20% get overturned. And just taking the conditioning out of matches and having these long reviews. That one was not long. Quickly determined the call stands. But some of these reviews, when they get to be 7, 8 minutes long, we saw it a couple years ago in 2023 in Tulsa with Real Woods and Andrew Aliras, and then last year with Figueroa and Ayala in that 125-pound final. I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I know you want to get the call right, but for the most part, these officials pretty darn good.
Yeah, I completely agree. One thing I want to keep your eye on here, Mat 3, Terrell Barraclough was in this situation earlier in this tournament. He was up by 1, and he took the shot and got go behind. Now he's in the same position, but Peyton Hall is in on the leg. He's close again. Peyton Hall is continuing to try to get that arm deep. He's got to double off here. He's really close to this takedown. He might try to put him in danger.
Inside of 10 seconds, good fight there from Barraclough, and a stalemate is whistled.
Yeah,
actually not a stalemate.
Yeah, he got awarded the takedown, and that was such a good job by Peyton Hall, not panicking. He was in on the leg. He continued to move, and Barraclough had that crotch lock, but as soon as Peyton Hall got his arm out and doubled across and got his hands locked, he had the foot hooked, and it was a takedown.
I did not see the official award the 3. It is a takedown for Peyton Hall, and he will wrestle for 3rd place at 165. Zerbin and Chumley. Early second period, mat number 1. Over on mat number 2, inside of 1 minute in that second period, Kasak, that late takedown in the first. Christopher Minto and Hunter Garvin scrapping down on the bottom right, mat number 4. Another Nittany Lion takes to the Resolites. Levi Haynes, 3-time Big Ten champion, now 3-time All-American. Won the national title last March in Kansas City at 157. He had a great match, highly anticipated last night with Dean Hamady of Oklahoma State. Hamady hit that ankle pick in the first 10 seconds and looked really good. He'll wrestle tonight against Keegan O'Toole. That'll be a great match at 165, or 174 rather.
That's probably one of the best finals matchups of the night. What I was so impressed with Hamady last night was Levi Haynes, when he gets to your leg, and I said I really believe that he's probably one of the best finishers in the country when he gets extended, and Hamady did a great job using his hips and covering the head and getting the other hamstring of Haynes, squaring up and being good defensively. Great job performing in a big match like that and setting up that rematch with Keegan O'Toole.
Garvin with a 1-0 lead. Haynes and Simon Ruiz of Cornell. Kasak, a 4-0 lead now to the 3rd period.
Shapiro has 1 minute and 11 seconds of riding time, so he's going to go down. If he can get out in 10 seconds, he'll preserve that riding time. Kasak's got to ride for a little bit and take that away.
Kasak drops to a single leg. And he will take the riding time under a minute. Just great awareness once again. Kasak fully aware of the situation, understands what he has to do.
Yeah, I'm surprised the ref didn't look to go stalling there. He was in on that leg on his feet for a while. The Cornell coaches obviously wanted, but what the referee's looking for is attempts. Kasak was trying to kick his leg out. He did enough to show the referee that I'm trying to return him, get him to the out-of-bounds line to get the fresh start.
Shot there from Zerbin. Chumley just gritty. Another one of those guys, solid career at Northwestern for Matt Storniolo. Great to see him becoming an All-American. Good scramble there. Vinny Zerbin looking to tie this match up. As they roll out of bounds. And they are going to look at this. Levi Haynes looking to finish on the edge on mat 3, bottom left. Riding time a non-factor on mat number 4, Garvin, the 2-0 lead. Penn State, Nebraska, Oklahoma State, and Iowa. 1 through 4. What a tournament for Nebraska. The Cornhuskers, 8 All-Americans. Reminds me a little bit, Trent, at least up to this point in the tournament. I think back to 2021 in St. Louis. Penn State fell to Iowa, but the Nittany Lions were really the story coming out of St. Louis. And I think as good as Penn State is, the 10 All-Americans, maybe this sounds a little bit crazy, but Nebraska is a huge story coming out of this tournament.
Yeah, they are, and 8 All-Americans, but the way they did it, it just seemed like they were never losing matches. They got so much momentum going and won match after match and got bonus points by all different kinds of guys. So it wasn't just your top stars that were doing it. It was an entire team effort.
Look at this on mat number 4. Minto's got Garvin on his back. Garvin went for a head throw. Minto rolled him through. And now Minto in position for the fall. Garvin continues to fight and works back to his belly. But that is going to be a huge move, most likely the difference, with just 30 seconds left. That's one thing you do see in this round a little bit more. Guys are All-Americans, wrestle with a little bit more freedom, take some more risks, let it fly. It's entertaining to watch.
It is, and that's why some of these matches are the best ones of the tournament. You have the best guys in the country wrestling each other in the contests, and they're letting it fly. It's really fun to watch.
Christopher Minto will wrestle for 3rd place. And on mat number 1, another good scramble with Zerman and Shumley. Tyler Kasak will wrestle for 3rd place at 157 pounds. These guys are just so gritty, Trent. Tyler Kasak, another one of those guys. You talk about a backside warrior. He might be the poster child.
You know, a lot of times what those moments do is they set you up for the next time you get to this tournament. You eventually, those guys typically find themselves in those finals position. When you do the right things on the backside, further on in your career, it really helps you as you want to accomplish the ultimate goal of winning the tournament.
The Wildcats, Trevor Shumley victorious, defeating Vinny Zerban. Shumley for 3rd place at 157, where he will wrestle Tyler Kasak. Cade DeVos and Patrick Kennedy on mat number 2. Ruiz leading Haynes. Just over 30 seconds, second period, mat number 3. Chris Foca and Dustin Plotz. Those two on mat number 4. The winners of these matches will wrestle for 3rd. If you fall in this match, you wrestle for 5th. All Big Ten affair coming up on mat number 1 with Jackson Smith and Max McAnally. What a match with McAnally and Parker Keckeisen last night. Keckeisen in sudden victory. That might have been the craziest 15 seconds of wrestling I've seen. McAnally looked like he had him dead to rights. Not only did Keckeisen defend, he ultimately scored, setting up that final with Carter Starachi tonight. But this Max McAnally, redshirt freshman from Waconia, Minnesota, he is some kind of talent.
He really is, and Minnesota fans are going to love watching him, you know, as his career progresses. And the best part about it is that he's getting challenged really early in his career, and you know, all 3 of those top seeds, Starachi, Keckeisen, Plot, those guys' careers will all be over at this point, and next year you're going to see a lot of attention go to McAnally at that 184 weight class.
Dustin Plott on mat number 4. What a career he has had at Oklahoma State. National finalist a year ago. Haynes and Ruiz 1-1.
It's a great shot by Ruiz. This is going to be his best opportunity. He's really probably got to score this takedown if he's going to beat Haynes. Haynes, good job defensively. Once Ruiz split his grip, he got off that position, saying get off that position by sprawling back, and now he's looking to reattack of his own.
You're much younger than me, Trent, but I'm going to take you back to 1983. I'm 7 years old, and they're teaching us how to sprawl. And it was literally like, get your legs up in the air. It is clearly not the right technique. When you're sprawling, it's more almost counter offense, crashing those hips down.
Yeah, it is, and it's all hips. It's pressure. You want to use all your hips and pressure in, get your head up. That helps you use your hips, and then you're using your hands a lot. What you see a lot of guys do is block at the knees. That takes away the guy that's in on the legs to be able to use his legs to inch up. So you're pushing away at the knees, using their hips, get off the position, and then you're looking to attack ankles for a go behind.
I'm always curious when techniques change, and I'm wondering when somebody watched those sprawl drills of the early and mid 80s and finally went, this makes no sense. This is totally the wrong thing to do. And Levi Haynes scores 3 inside of 30 seconds. And he takes a 4-1 lead on Ruiz. Haynes, 2 years ago, a national runner-up, fell to Austin O'Connor of North Carolina, who claimed his second national title. Last year, he beat Corey Teamer down at 157. And he will go for third place at 174, Haynes over Ruiz. Patrick Kennedy cracking that All-American code for the first time in his career. One thing so far, Trent, watching these matches, first half an hour of this broadcast, the word that just keeps coming back to me is grit. D'Amelio, Chambly, Patrick Kennedy.
These guys thrive in this position, right? And that's a testament to how they train, how they live their life, all those little details. It's a lot of discipline. Right, being disciplined when it's hard, this is when it pays off, because you have to be disciplined in these matches.
Dustin Plott going to go on bottom. Just tough. What's toughness to you, Trent?
I think toughness, and obviously there's physical toughness, there's mental toughness, but in a situation like this, I talk a lot about having the ability to reset and respawn. To be tough is to be able to endure some adversity and to continue going on. Everybody in this round has lost a match they expected to win, and not giving yourself the opportunity to feel bad for yourself, and being tough enough to put it behind you and realize that I have to get back to the person that I want to be. And that comes from competitive. And toughness is the way you live your life, the way I talk about discipline, the way you train. You want to be tough in hard situations so that when you get exposed to it, when you need to perform your best, you're able to pull that toughness out of you. So, I think there's a lot of definitions, but you said grit a lot. I think that's a huge part of the formula. Being able to withstand pain, being able to withstand pressure, and still have the ability to perform.
DeVos with the second period escape, 1-0 lead. McAnally, the Gopher, 1-0 with that quick escape second period. Jackson Smith, an All-American for Alex Clemson. I mentioned Yusuf Hamida last night. I believe Yusuf Hamida was an All-American the year before Coach Clemson came to Maryland. Look at this right here. Jackson Smith looking for that high flyer. He goes for it.
Now, that was awesome what McAnally did. That's a hard position to stop, and a lot of times you're in on that leg and you feel like you have such a great grip on it. When somebody goes and you think they're taking him to their back, what he did, he let go of the leg. If you hold on to that leg, Jackson Smith probably would have ended up on top and had you in a lot of trouble. But great recognition. I'm in trouble. I know he's putting himself to his back, but there's too much momentum to stop. I'm going to let go of the leg, get out of it. Great job by McAnally, but that's something that Jackson Smith is really good. I talked about how slick he is. He's always going dangerous. He loves that high flyer.
Anytime I see that move, I think about former Gopher Dylan Ness.
Yeah, Dylan Ness was awesome. And the best part about it is you knew he was going to do it, and he loved putting you there. And that's obviously, to have that type of signature move is so cool. One time Hayden wrestled Dylan Ness at a World Team Trials in, I think it was in Rochester, Minnesota.
Sure.
I was coming out of high school, and you know, when you're watching your brother, you obviously don't want them to lose, and you're watching a match like that, and you're just holding your breath the entire time. And it's like, at no point in this match do you feel safe.
He's the original Mr. Combustible Material, Dylan Ness. Always looking to put you on your back.
One of the best ones was in that dual meet against Penn State at Minnesota when he pinned one of the
Alton,
Alton brothers.
yes.
Oh, and I talk about highly combustible. The Alton brothers out of Central Mountain, about an hour from where I grew up. I grew up watching those guys, and you should go back and look at what they did in high school. Their records are insane, and they pinned everybody in like 30 seconds. You'd get to the state tournament, you'd be so excited to watch those guys, and you'd look up and the match would be over. So those are two guys I grew up really enjoying watching wrestle.
AJ Ferrari and Joseph Novak on mat number 3. Ferrari falling to Stephen Buchanan of Iowa in the semifinals last night. Dustin Plott leading on mat number 4. DeVos and Kennedy upper right on mat 2. 1-1 riding time and on factor. Same score on mat number 1 with Smith and McAnally. I should know this, Trent. I think I'd have to go back and look. The first match I ever did play-by-play for the Big Ten Network was that match.
Was it really?
With Ness and Alton. I think it was. How I don't remember that, I have no idea, but it's been a minute.
How about the tournament Novak has had? Not a lot of talk about him coming into the tournament. Lost to Buchanan that second round. He rattled off 4 straight wins.
Ferrari turns the corner, scores the 3. Going off of memory right here, I think Novak's from Minnesota.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Minnesota.
He's tough.
Pinnacle guy. What a great club.
Absolutely.
Paulson does with
Brandon
Pinnacle.
Paulson, Jared Lawrence. Ferrari right there on the edge, building his riding time. Roll from Novak.
I'll tell you why I love Pinnacle so much. Paulson does a great job of teaching those guys how to hand fight at an early age.
Love the fight.
When you're in high school and you're wrestling somebody from Pinnacle and you don't know how to hand fight, I'm telling you what, good luck.
He's a guy doing interviews at Fargo for all those years. I would watch Brandon Paulson coach in the corner. I mean, how could you not be fired up to take the mat when you got that guy in your corner? And Patrick Kennedy in sudden victory. 4-1 for the Hawkeye. He'll wrestle for 3rd place. Love me some Patrick Kennedy, Trent. I can't hide it.
Look at that black guy. That is
a gladiator.
If there's anything that says Patrick Kennedy, it's that black guy.
Another Minnesota native in Patrick Kennedy. Casson Manorville. Dustin Plott on mat number 4. Will wrestle for 3rd place.
Man, Mr. Consistency.
Yes.
I mean, that's the word that I really, when I think about Plott, I don't just think of a great wrestler, a really tough guy. I think about consistency.
Out of Tuttle, Oklahoma, super polite. One of the most polite young men I've ever met. Dustin Plott.
He's missing those
another
front
guy
teeth.
that's left his mark on that program.
Yeah, he really has. And you know, Oklahoma State fans, as they get into this next era with Taylor there, he's somebody that really helped that transition.
Max McAnally, a sweet takedown on the edge on mat number 1. He defeats Jackson Smith in sudden victory, and he will wrestle for 3rd place. McAnally and Plott for 3rd at 184.
You know, a lot of years, that's probably a national championship match, and to get that for 3rd is incredible.
Novak with a takedown on the edge. Trent, I got to put another plug in. Vote no on the push-out. Love the savviness of guys on the edge, scoring points, navigating that edge. Puts himself right back into the match. The Cowboy on mat number 3. Stephen Little and Jacob Cardenas on mat number 4, bottom right. Trumbull and Treffen.
All right.
How do you break this one down?
So Shane, let me share something with you. Do you think there's ever been 2 guys that wrestled at the national tournament that wrestled in a wrestle-off earlier this season? I'd be
I'm going to
surprised
say,
if anybody did that.
I would agree. I doubt it's happened.
So these guys, not just teammates at NC State at the beginning of the season, wrestled in the wrestle-off. Trumbull won the wrestle-off. Treffin had the opportunity to get transfer halfway through the season to Lehigh. Guys are teammates. They were roommates. They lived with each other. Yeah.
So good friends?
Yeah, great friends, both in the ROTC program at NC State, and kind of like a bittersweet moment, I think, seeing both guys on the podium, but now having to wrestle each other. And Treffin, to my knowledge, never had beaten Trumbull, so getting this match in a Concy semi it is kind of crazy.
So many great stories at this tournament. We've seen brothers wrestle with Mac and Luke Stout. That blood round match last night with former teammates Chase Eldante and Caleb Fish. These guys, teammates earlier this season. That is wild. Jason Bryant announcing that to the crowd here inside Wells Fargo Center, that they were roommates. Jason Bryant and Brian Hazard, phenomenal job as always here in house on the PA. Novak goes on bottom, down by 1 on mat number 3. Novak has riding time to his advantage, 15 seconds.
All right, Shane, I'm going to throw one at you here. What do you think about the camo singlets?
They're okay. They're okay. I'm kind of a boring guy. Kind of like the 2 colors or the 1 solid color. I like the Oklahoma State orange. I like that Iowa black. I like the Penn State with the navy and white.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I'm the same way. I get the camo. I get it's kind of hot. I think for like when people do the military appreciation night, I really like it.
Exactly.
And then especially when you start getting into these crazy colorways of the camo, I'm not big on it. And I'll tell you, even one thing, that Oklahoma State, I go away from the traditional singlet. I get the chevron. I like the history, but man, you really cannot beat that old Oklahoma State singlet. Not that it matters. Not that it matters.
Sure. I like the Michigan singlet, the maize and blue.
Michigan's a great singlet.
Kind of like simple, traditional. It's stately.
Kind of like what NC State did. I know we're talking a lot about singlets, but that's a very similar singlet to what Darren Caldwell wore when he won a national title over Brent Metcalf. So a good...
Next year, that's got to be a poll question. It's got to be a poll question. What are your favorite singlets?
Yep.
I'm with you.
All right, let's get back to the wrestling. What do you say?
AJ Ferrari has riding time at 44 seconds. He's really tough in that top position. Trumbull on mat number 2 has riding time at 40 seconds. And, of course, top game can put you right back into matches.
Yeah, and Ferrari has 45 seconds of riding time. He's up by 1. He only needs 16 more seconds. And this is really where he feels confident on top, getting riding time. He's going to look to ride out this period.
Stephen Little and Jacob Cardenas 0-0 after the first 3 minutes. Cardenas on bottom. Here's second period.
Stephen Little's another guy that's grinded through the tournament. He lost to Michael Beard in the second round. Came back, beat Michael Delegado of Cornell. Trey Munoz, who was a former All-American, or as you like to say,
you're always an All-American.
Forever.
You're always an All-American.
And then Seth Shoemate, who was really hot on the backside, and then a win over Max Stout to put himself in this Concy semi, taking on the 1 seed.
And that's what makes this interesting, Trent, because you got a guy like Stephen Little, battled adversity early in the tournament, but now he's on an upswing. Won a few matches, feeling really good, and now he gets Cardenas coming off a loss.
Yeah, it's really hard. When you're the guy dropping down to the semis, you're wrestling someone that's really on a roll. You're coming off a loss. They're coming off of 3, 4, maybe 2 wins. And that's a hard thing to break out of. But like I said, it's all about that response. Can you put that semifinal match away and drop down and wrestle someone that's looking to take off your head?
Another thing that makes this tournament so easy, it's just the circumstances are so different. They change so quickly. And Trumbull, with 1:42 of riding time, they'll clean some blood off the mat. Ferrari riding time Going to end at about 1:45. He's going to get the riding time points, and this will be most likely a 5-3 final. Good bounce back from A.J. Ferrari, national champion in 2021 in St. Louis. Then for the Cowboys of Oklahoma State, that is the final 5-3 for Ferrari. He'll go for third at 197. He'll get the winner of Little and Cardenas. Final second period in that match on mat number 4. Little will have the choice in the third, trailing 1-0. And A.J. Ferrari giving the fans what they want, the splits. He's a showman.
Win or lose, there's probably not been a more entertaining wrestler that we've gotten to watch this week, and I love the enthusiasm. Coming off the loss, gritting through this win, giving the fans what they want. We'll see him later for third place.
Good mat return there by Cardenas. So Little built up about 20 seconds of riding time. So we'll see how Cardenas plays this. Appears to be pretty committed to that top position. Inside of a minute with Treffin and Trumbull. Trumbull has riding time at 1:36. So he is close to locking up that point. Essentially would tie the mat.
And Treffin has the only takedown of the match. And if you're Treffin, you really don't want this to go to the ride out. So you got to think in your head, I have 30 seconds here in this third period. I'm either going to try to go get one now or reset, but I really got to try to get the match done in those first 2 minutes. Treffin just got hit for a stall. He just gave him a point. That was a stall call and a point for Trumbull. So now he needs a takedown. He's losing on riding time.
Down to 27 seconds off this restart. Trumbull's got riding time locked up. He's up by 1, down to 20 seconds.
Watch for Treffin to go to that outside step that he's been really good at.
Straight on shot. Another attack there by the Mountain Hawk. Teammates earlier this season. Trumbull with the riding time point 4-3. And the Wolfpack heavyweights will wrestle for third place.
Yeah, see, that match was really decided on that stall call. And with Trumbull, against a guy like Treffin that's so hard to take down. Obviously, he got that riding time point, but finding different ways to win, sometimes that is with stall calls. If you have a good underhook or good upper body, if you can get guys to the edge, you give yourself an opportunity to get some stall calls, and the ref rewarded him with one.
Jacob Cardenas has Stephen Little flat on mat number 4. Riding time at 45 seconds for Cardenas. Goes stall call, gonna roll through on that tilt. And the riding time at 56 seconds, and they give the escape to Little.
Yeah, that was interesting. Cardenas had that cross-wrist roll. He went for it, but it actually helped Little to get that roll and get the escape. If he would have just stayed there, he would have got the riding time, and that's a situation where you've got to understand where your riding time is. You don't need a turn to win this match.
But I would say this, as you alluded to with Trumbull and Treffin, if you are Little, I think your best path to victory is on your feet.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You knew he had to get an escape. And there's the great takedown by Cardenas. What he did there, Mark Hall used to do this really well. Elbow pass to a low side ankle on the other side, double off for a huge takedown. Way to respond, Cardenas.
Slick takedown by the Wolverine Cardenas. Fell to Josh Barr in the semis last night. I'm always super impressed, Trent. The number 1 seeds that get beat in the semis, that come back to third, because let's be honest, they don't feel like being here. This was not the plan.
No, they don't. And Cardenas, who lost that match against Barr, you know, you're setting your sights on a national title the entire year, the entire week. You get there, you take that loss, and you're looking yourself at the mirror and saying, you know, I don't have that national title, but and the saying that we always hear is go get the next best thing. You've got to shift your mindset to third place, and you're seeing him do a good job of responding here. He'll have a big match with AJ Ferrari for third.
Four to the final score. Shane Sparks, Trent Hidley, here on ESPN Plus, MATCAST coverage. Again, big thanks to all of you for spending your time with us these past couple of days.
Yeah, it's been awesome. You know, getting ready for these medal rounds. Again, awesome wrestling ahead, and these guys have certainly earned it with the effort that they've put throughout the tournament. And now you really you want to let it all out there. You have one match. You know, whether you're going for 7th, 5th, or 3rd, you know that you can dig deep and find something within yourself to finish this match. And
get that odd number. Get the odd number.
I only finished odd once, and I'll tell you what, out of my 4 trips here, 1 and 3 in the last matches, you feel way better at finishing odd. I got 5th place one year, and I lost for 3rd and 4th. 5th place felt way better than 4th.
Who did you beat for 5th?
Caleb Romero. So
Caleb Romero from Ohio State.
And then he beat me the following year for 3rd and 4th. So he was a great competitor. One of the strongest wrestlers I've ever wrestled.
If I remember right with Caleb Romero, he was a stud football player, stud wrestler, awesome guy. Okay, 7th place matches. Smith and Poulin on mat number 1 at 125. You have Van D and Tyler Knox. Mat number 3, 7th place, Jacob Frost and Vance Bombar. Sammy Alvarez and Gavin Drexler, a couple of guys that have had really nice tournaments.
Yeah, and good to see Ryder at North Dakota State get their guys here. 2 guys that probably flew under their radar a little bit, especially Gavin Drexler. Great job by Obi Blanc getting him ready to wrestle at the right time. And Sammy Alvarez, who's been really talented his whole career. He had a great Southern Scuffle a few years back. He's at Rutgers for a little bit. Ended up at Ryder, and huge for Ryder to get him on the podium.
Just got a text from Brooks Black. Remember him?
Yeah.
Just said he's been listening all 3 days. He's enjoyed it. I remember seeing Brooks Black when he was at Blair Academy, sophomore in high school, heavyweight, really good heavyweight, went to Illinois. Now he's coaching high school in Kentucky. Brooks Black. 7th place matches.
You know, talk about these guys being warriors right now. You see a lot of these guys are taped up. When I was down on the floor this morning, and I've seen this every year, but you get to take it in a little bit more as a fan, it looked like it was a zombie movie watching these guys walk to the podium. I saw Tyler Knox basically hobbling to the scale. He hurt his ankle yesterday. It almost looked like he needed crutches to go there. And now you watch him wrestle, and it looks like he's totally fine. These guys are going through so much right now, and to step on the mat is a huge accomplishment in its own right. And now to try to compete and give your best, you know, it just says a lot about these guys' courage.
The Cyclone with the takedown. Mat number 3. That's a great word, courage. It takes a lot of it at this level. Gavin Drexler gets a takedown and now looking for a tilt down on mat number 4. Jacob Van D lost in the first round, Trent. Let me confirm that. I thought he did.
Yep. Yeah, he did.
He did. The 17 seed, he fell to Ryan Miller of Penn, 8-4. So Van D loses in the first round. He's going to be an All-American. And you talked about Tyler Knox, and he appears to be in a lot of pain.
It is so brutal, and obviously you want to wrestle out there. You want to do your best, but when you're so compromised, it is so hard to just do the basic things right. And anytime you get in a position where, you know, obviously his ankle is heavily taped up, you get that twisted around, it is so hard.
There's the second best looking Hidley brother out there, Hayden.
Really proud of Hayden. I got to talk with him earlier this morning, and just super proud brother to watch what he's doing at Stanford. And last night, I'll tell you what, I almost cried on the broadcast when Tyler Knox won the blood round and he gave Hayden a big hug. It is really cool, and I know wrestling is a huge family experience for a lot of people, and a lot of people can relate to that. When you see your brother do well, man, it's like you'd rather see them do well than yourself.
Absolutely.
A lot of the times.
Caleb Smith leading Poulin 3-1. Yeah, your brother's great. Great guy. I remember interviewing him at Fargo. Super polite, always said hi. You guys were raised right. Van D gets the takedown. So on mat number 3, they must have taken that takedown off the board of Frost.
Yeah, there was a review. They took that takedown away. Still 0-0.
Couple of Cornhuskers on the Resolite. Nebraska, 8 All-Americans. Congratulations to Mark Manning and the Cornhuskers. They were a trophy team. 4th place finishes in 2008 and 2009. 2nd place at the moment behind Penn State. Drexler up by 1, 2nd period upcoming. And now here is Vombar with a single leg.
We've seen this situation a ton. He's got to pull this leg and see him sit down on his butt, but Frost is really flexible. Continue to drag that in. See how Frost is fighting the hands. That's really key. If you can fight those hands with both hands, rip a wrist off, allows you to get some flexibility, and you see him whizzer down there hard. Watch for Vombar to try to throw that leg in on the other side. There he tries to throw it in.
Frost able to block it with his right shoulder. Score remains 3-1.
Logan Stever really, I think he probably wasn't the first one to do it, but he really made that finish famous of throwing that leg in on the other side and getting that takedown. You're seeing guys getting really good at that.
Final 15 seconds. See Vombar coming up through the crotch. This would be a huge takedown, looking to scoop the ankle. No takedown yet in the final seconds.
And the reason that's not a takedown is because you see Vombar's hands locked on the other side of the crotch there. He needed to break that lock and then hip up to get the takedown. That's one that's really close in folk-style wrestling. But, you know, as long as that guy keeps their hands locked, referees typically don't award that.
Alvarez and Drexler, really good match there on mat number 4 inside of a minute, 2nd period. Alvarez leading at 4-3. Now 4-4. Smith and Van D, both with leads for Nebraska. A 1-point match with Frost and Vombar. Drexler does have over 2 minutes of riding time, and Caleb Smith tacks on 3 more. Scoring again, Jacob Frost, the Cyclone, 6-2. That's on mat 3. Caleb Smith on mat number 1. Controls the wrists, finishes the period on top. In control to the 3rd, up by 6. With over a minute and a half of riding time. Von Bar extended, clinging to the left leg. Frost breaks the grip. Good technique here for Frost. Been really good on his feet.
Yeah, both the finishes that he got were quick finishes. You saw him get to the leg the one time on Von Bar. Von Bar's so stingy defensively, so if you're going to finish, you got to be able to finish quick.
Mat number 4, some near fall for Alvarez. Fun match on mat number 4. That is 7-6 Alvarez. Drexler with over 2.5 of riding time. That's on mat 4, bottom right.
It feels like whoever gets this next takedown's going to win. It's essentially tied up right now with Drexler having that riding time. So you have a minute. You know, clock's still running. That should be stopped. So they might add a couple of seconds on. I think it was around minute 16. But you want to be the guy. This is the last match of the season. You don't want to lose with the other guy taking the shot. You want to be the one that goes to force the action to go get a takedown. We'll see who puts this final sprint on. Well, they just took 2 points away from Alvarez.
I thought that maybe they gave an escape to Alvarez when it should have went to Drexler.
They're working on finishing, getting that fixed right now.
Caleb Smith on mat number 1. Looking for bonus points. He's got riding time locked up. And Jacob Frost has Von Bar in trouble on mat number 3.
There you saw that ability to finish. He got that leg up in the air and timed Von Bar's roll. Really let him do it and adjusted to catch him on his back, and now he's looking for the fall. Might run out of time here.
Jacob Frost, the Cyclone, on mat number 3. 7th place for head coach Kevin Dresser and Iowa State. (17-3) final. So Drexler, 6-5 lead. Jacob Van D over Tyler Knox. Jacob Van D falling in the first round and placing 7th, as does his teammate Caleb Smith at 125 pounds. Major decision for Caleb Smith. Came to Lincoln and earned a pair of All-American honors. Sends a kiss to the Nebraska fans. That decision worked out for him. Really good at Appalachian State, comes to Lincoln. 2-time All-American, be part of a team that's going to take a trophy back.
Yeah, he certainly has grown a lot. He has a great foundation that he built at App State and going to Nebraska and joining the team that they had. He was a huge part of where they're at in 2nd place right now.
I made a mistake. I was confused. It's Alvarez that's got the riding time. I'm colorblind. So this match is going to go to sudden victory.
And Drexler was so close to a winning takedown there. Going to OT. Drexler's been in a bunch of crazy matchups this entire weekend. Look at him, first one on the line. You want to be the guy that's always getting first back.
Good body language.
Good body language. Show the guy that I'm ready to go. Mix it up. Go out with a bang here in your last match of the season.
For 7th place, Alvarez and Drexler. Mat 4, bottom right. And again, a situation there with Alvarez with that riding time. If you're Drexler, you probably want to get this done on your feet.
You got to get it done on your feet. Alvarez is really good with legs on top, and for him to only have to ride for 30 seconds is almost nothing for him. You got to go get this done on your feet.
Matty Bianchi and Caleb Fish on mat number 1. A couple of Wisconsin natives in Matty Bianchi and Gavin Drexler.
Wisconsin's, as a state, has done really well. I think I saw they had 8 All-Americans. I'll have to check on that, but as a home state, PA, only 6 this year. A little bit of a down year, but great job by Wisconsin. If I believe correctly, I thought I saw 8 All-Americans. You would probably know them better than I do, but
State's definitely improved a lot the last 3 to 5 years, I would say. Pair of Cowboys in Caleb Fish and Cameron Amin. On mats 1 and 2, Matty Singleton and Danny Wask, bottom left on mat number 3. And Sammy Alvarez in sudden victory gets the takedown, the 9-6 final. Good battle with those two. Alvarez gives him a pat on the back, lifts him up. Talk about the respect in this tournament amongst the competitors.
ton of respect.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, you very rarely ever see bad sportsmanship in this round because, I said it earlier, you know what that other guy's going through, and you respect it so much that it's like, you know, we really are one and the same. We might be different teams, we might be rivals, but we deep down are one and the same right now.
Caleb Fish winning his blood round match against former teammate and good friend Chase Eldante. Matty Bianchi from Two Rivers, Wisconsin.
They called stalling on Bianchi there, and that's a situation where I do see stalling where I don't know if I love it, where Fish kind of gets a grip on that leg and Bianchi goes whizzer kick and they go out of bounds. I understand the stall call from the point of going out of bounds when Fish is in on a leg, but I mean, you really don't have a lot of options there. You can try to whizzer down harder, but you're probably going out of bounds either way, and that's one of those really close stall calls. I love this matchup, Shane. You are on the call for it. Oklahoma State versus Little Rock on the UFC Fight Pass. Bianchi ended up getting a fall in that match. It was really cool for Little Rock in their home gym.
Speaking of falls, Cam Steed just stuck Cam Amin.
Cam Steed.
Cam Amin, great career.
Yeah, amazing career. Cam Amin has done a lot in this sport. Cam Steed, though, getting the fall in that match. Wow.
He's super exciting.
Really exciting, and a great future ahead of him with Missouri. I know they're looking to reload next year. Good to see him go out on top.
Yeah, that dual meet was fun to call at Little Rock with the Cowboys in town. And Matty Bianchi pinning Caleb Fish. Place went crazy. Awesome to see what they've done at Little Rock with that program. Singleton and Wask scoreless after the first period. And Caleb Fish escapes. Draws first blood on mat number 1. Coming up on mat number 4, Silas Allred and DJ Washington.
Now, these are the matches here, these placement matches. Really try to determine that top 10, that top 15. I was just looking at the reason I said it. You see NC State popping at 41.5. Obviously, I have my eye on them, but these half point, I should know this, apologies, but I don't know how many points you get in this last round. I believe it might, I think you already get your advancement points. It's just the extra, half point, but I'm not exactly sure on that, but it really does make a huge difference. Every win that you can get in these 7th, 5th, and 3rd place matches go a long way in determining, a lot of that. You see Cornell at 46, Ohio State 47.5, obviously Minnesota at 50.5, Iowa's separated themselves at 77, and then you have Oklahoma State, Nebraska. But that, I'm telling you, that's 6 through 10.
It's a log jam.
6 through 10 is only separated by 7 points.
Every point matters. Bonus points are big. Waterfall position with Caleb Fish draped over Bianchi.
And what you want to do in this position is hide your ankle. See how Fish has a grip on that ankle? Oftentimes when you get in the waterfall, you want to try to hide your ankles before they get a grip on it. Now he's got to pressure into his foot, continue to pressure. Don't let Fish roll through. He's doing a good job. Pressure. He's only got 15 seconds, but he's in a good position.
Bianchi looking for the short time score, and he's got it. The takedown inside of 15 seconds. Bianchi a 3-1 lead. Going to get that late takedown and finish the period on top. A big 3 for Bianchi. All 3 other matches scoreless. Vantreska and Seymour in a 5th place match. The other 3 7th place. We'll go 5th place and then roll into 3rd place. Love this round, Trent. This is a great session.
Yeah, I love this round. I like how we do all the 7th place matches, and then we go to 5th, and then we go to 3rd. Still have a couple of 7th place matches here.
Silas Allred scores first. What a tournament he has had.
Yeah, he had an up and down season, but he put it on here at the NCAA championships. Saw that blood round win over Dylan Fishback of NC State, and then parlaying it into this 7th place match with Donnell Washington, who's also had a really impressive tournament.
Both these guys first-time All-Americans.
Yeah, we talked about Indiana. They had a good tournament. Obviously, Donnell an All-American, but you look at some of the other performances that they had were really great too.
Washington gets the escape. Short time escape. Big one for Washington. Takedown for Vantreska. Singleton a 1-0 lead after 2 periods.
Wass got a lot of riding time in that second period, 141. Singleton, you're going to try to ride this period out if you can, take that riding time out. See what Wass can do on bottom off the whistle. Good job by Wass there. We always talk about you have 3 cautions. Use them if you can. With Singleton, he likes to get a leg in and ride. So if you can win that whistle, it's so big.
Look for that edge. Anticipate the whistle. As you said, he got a couple. Vantreska with the takedown. Leads at 3-1 on mat number 2. Singleton on cue. Slides that leg in. And Singleton now going to get some near fall on mat number 3. Matty Singleton adds to his lead.
Talk about trapping a wrist or getting an arm off a mat return. He did that cutback and immediately went for a deep, tight waist and chopped over that elbow to get 2 back points. He's done that a lot this year. That's how he won the ACC final match against Luca Augustine. He back tripped and got him on his back for 4 back points. If you're Wass, you just got to respond. You have riding time still. If you can get out quick, you're only down by 1.
But that riding time nearing 60 seconds, and Singleton takes it under a minute. Hanging there right where he wants to be on the edge.
Yeah, you got to stay in on the edge here. Good job of, now Wass doing a good job of getting out. Get back into the center if you can, Matty Singleton. And now at this point, at any point you feel like he's going to get out, then you can pull him out.
Good front trip. That is so efficient.
It doesn't take a lot of energy to do that, and you save yourself a lot of time. Just keep that foot in, keep that foot in. Now you got to get out if you're Singleton. It's too close for him to get out of bounds. Gives up that stall call. You got to go out of bounds.
Final seconds on mat number 1. Matty Bianchi from Little Rock. Great tournament. Finishes 7th.
It really is a great tournament. Little Rock with 2 All-Americans. If you would have said they had 2 All-Americans, probably would have thought Nasir Bailey and Little, but Matty Bianchi, great tournament. 7th place is no joke.
Matty Bianchi in sudden victory beat Ed Scott, and then he beat Ryder Downey. That was where they reviewed that takedown. They gave it to him. He won that one 5-4. Ultimately places 7th. Seventh place match on mat number 1. Ben Keeter and Joshua Heinzelman. Van Treska and Seymour on mat number 2. Van Treska with riding time over 1.5 minutes. The Cornhusker doubling up the Hoosier 4-2 on mat 4. A review on mat number 3.
We saw the brick by Colette Navy. Could be a situation where they were looking at, did they go out of bounds so that they can get more time on the clock? Because if they went out of bounds and both feet went out, that would give Wasp more opportunity to get a takedown to win this match. With only 20 seconds, you want to try to get back any time that you can.
Who was your favorite college wrestler growing up?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard. So I grew up, obviously, in Central PA, went to a lot of the Penn State matches. I love Frank Molinaro. I love the way that he got to that high C. He was so explosive getting to the edge, or getting up in the air. Man, there's just so many. All those tournaments start to run together a little bit, but I just remember tuning in for the national finals and just thinking this is the coolest thing ever.
Frank was a stud.
Yeah, Frank was awesome.
And you and I both like the wrestling nuggets. Molinaro, believe 4-time All-American, Big Ten champ. We were talking about Dylan Ness before. Did he beat Ness to win his national final?
I think you might be right. I know the match. I know he won it the year after he had lost to Dake in the finals, because I remember that being a really big matchup.
Somebody let me know. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm going to go he beat Dylan Ness. It all runs together. 2011, is that the year that he wrestled Dake and Dake just rode him and rode him and rode him?
I think so.
I got to be honest. If Dake had to still be riding him in this same arena 14 years later, I think he'd still be on top.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Molinaro.
Oh, Molinaro was a hammer. He was a absolute beast, Frank Molinaro. An Olympian, 5th place in Rio in 2016. He was a beast.
I'll tell you what, if Molinaro, you're in that situation sometimes when you're on bottom, and I felt it last year. I just couldn't get off bottom. I was trying really hard, and things aren't going well. It's a frustrating moment, especially in the national finals, and you see that time ticking down. And obviously last year, wrestling Aaron Brooks, he was one of the better top wrestlers that I've ever had to face. And you want to get on your feet and get takedowns, and you're still trying to get off bottom. It's a lesson that I'll take with me for a long time, because I'm so big on getting off bottom. And I went into that tournament thinking that there's nobody in the country can ride me. I'm going to get out in the bottom from anyone. And it bit me in the moment that meant the most, and that's something that you take with you, that no matter how good you are at something, you always have to improve. There's always somebody out there that's better than you in a position. So it was a hard lesson to learn, and the whole match as well, but there's always an opportunity for you to get better, and that's not just wrestling. It applies to everything in life. You constantly have to keep getting better. The second that you feel like you're comfortable, someone else is getting an edge on you.
Connor McGonigal and Braden Davis on mat number 4. 5th place. Ben Keeter of Iowa strikes first on mat number 1. Camden McDaniel and Max Stout, mat number 3. And on mat number 2, the hulky Eddie Van Treska finishes in 5th place.
And I love to see that for Van Treska. 2 years ago, he was an All-American as, I forget what seed he might have been, 28, something in the 20s. Had a really hard year last year, and he'll tell you the same thing. It was an up and down year. Cooper Flynn ended up getting the start and dealing with some injuries, and That's a story of persistence, right? Getting back to your final form in All-American and finishing out on top. Those are things I love to see of guys having a really hard year and responding.
These guys' trends are a level of tough and a level of wrestling that most people just can't wrap their head around.
Yeah,
these guys are so good. To get on that stand one time is incredible.
Yeah, and he said in an interview, yes, I think it was leading up to the semis, and he said, all these guys think I'm a nobody. Like, you're not a nobody. If you all, and we talked about it. We're talking about All-Americans. If you're a national qualifier here, you're not a nobody. And Eddie Van Treska, a 2-time AA, that goes down in history.
I wouldn't fight Eddie Van Treska with 2 tanks.
I wouldn't fight any of these guys.
That is a tough dude.
I wouldn't fight. And the thing is, they're 125-pounders, and you still don't want to fight them.
And note to everybody out there, and people listening are wrestling fans, they know this, but maybe we have some people that are not. You see a guy with cauliflower ear, make him your friend.
Steer clear, because not only are they tough,
that will end bad for you. Promise you.
The one thing about wrestlers is they're psycho, right? They are not afraid to take it to the limit, and in it, I have experience. You get into like a situation where someone starts pushing on you, you're like, dude, if you had any idea what I could do right now, you would run.
Steer clear, good way to put it. You can never have too many of those guys as friends, no doubt. And Braden Davis gets the slap of the man on 4. The Nittany Lion and All-American for the first time. 5th place for Braden Davis.
Wasn't a defensive fall because they were in neutral, and he put him in danger and kind of just stacked him up. Referee was calling danger, and then, for the second there, McGonigal was pinned. But tell you what, great season by Braden Davis, responding after that loss in the championship side, and McGonigal as well, transferring from Lehigh going to Virginia Tech. He was a big reason for a lot of the success that Virginia Tech had this season.
Heinzelman up on Keeter. 90 seconds remaining in the third. That's on mat number 1. Hoderhand and Happel. They are scoreless, wrestling for 5th place on mat 2. Shapiro and Zerbin coming up.
One thing to note with a guy like Maxed Out on mat 3 is that shows the importance of keeping some of your best wrestlers in the room. Nino Bonacorski won a national title, stayed with the Pittsburgh room, and really mentored Maxed Out a lot. And I say mentor, and a lot of that is wrestling in the room and learning and getting your butt kicked. But you see those sacrifices start to pay off with the performance that he had this season.
Molinaro did beat Dylan Ness in 2012.
2012. So 2011 was that was in
every now and then I feel like I'm losing my mind, and then yeah, Molinaro was a beast.
What's fun is looking back at some of those brackets. I'll tell you what I used to do in high school, and I got in trouble for it a couple of times. I'd be in study hall or a class that I was kind of messing around with. You get your computer up, and you're just looking through old brackets, and you're like, oh, look at that concert run, look at that semifinal run. Like, you want to talk about being a nerd, going back and looking at brackets for fun.
Love wrestling history. Max Stout looking to close the first period on top, 6-1. Short time on mat number 1. Josh Heinzelman came to Ann Arbor from Oklahoma. Really solid season. An All-American for the first time. A 7th place finish. Heinzelman over Keeter.
Yeah, good finish for Heinzelman. You noted, coming from Oklahoma, great season with Michigan. They did a good job of elevating his game this season. And Ben Keeter, finishing that match. And as a Hawkeye fan, you love to see what he was able to do this weekend. And that's somebody that they're really going to count on next season to come back and be a captain for this team and learn from this experience next year. Heavyweight clears out a little bit. Some of those top guns really clear out, and Keeter's a guy coming into next season that you say, okay, this is a guy that can win a national title.
It clears out a little bit, but Tay Gadiali now at Michigan. Younger Bastide is back. It reloads. It always reloads. There's always new guys coming up. Every year, it's hard. There's never going to be an easy way. You want to get on that podium, it is going to be difficult.
We talked yesterday about starting to see some matchups of guys that wrestle on the on the championship sides. This 5th place match at Mat 2, Cale Happel and Josh Coderhunt, this is a rematch of that quarterfinal match where Happel won in tiebreakers. So as Coderhunt, that's a match that you had circled, and as Happel, it's how can I go out and do this again?
Shapiro, first period takedown on mat number 4. Max Stout of Pitt with riding time over a minute. 8-1 lead on mat number 3. And now wrestling for 5th place on mat number 1, Ethan Stiles and Lachlan McNeil. Happel escapes. The Panther adds to his lead. 4-1 score. Championship finals tonight on ESPN, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Kick things off at 184 pounds. So don't be late. Starachi and Keckeisen will end with Gable Steveson and Wyatt Hendrickson. It'll go 184 to 125 weight order.
Yeah, I like what they did there, setting up those matches, get a great match in the beginning, and then
talk about throwing a first big punch. That's a Mike Tyson uppercut out of the gates. I love it.
I like it too. I think it's good to mix it up a little bit, and sometimes going in weight order with these final matches. And one thing I've noticed, and being in some of them, is that because the matchups are so close and these guys know each other so well, they can be really low scoring. So you want to try to mix up the excitement a little bit, and I think they're doing a good job with that.
Keckeisen and Starachi, I know in dual meets you can draw and stuff like that, but typically speaking in their careers, they're not going first. Is there anything to that?
Not much. I mean, you have all day to prepare for this. This is such a long day if you're a finalist. You weighed in at 9 a.m., and you may not wrestle if you're the last match. Last year I weighed in at 9 a.m., and I didn't wrestle till like 9 p.m. So talk about a long day. So it doesn't matter. Wherever you're at in the finals, you're ready to go.
What did you do that day?
A lot of laying on the couch. I watched like 5 movies. I think I almost ran through the entire Fast and Furious franchise. I was just chilling out. I worked out in the morning with Hayden on the mat just to get loose, and then you just relax. You just relax and try to keep your mind off wrestling. You
stay by yourself in a hotel room or with teammates, friends, family?
You try to surround yourself with teammates. If you try to just stay by yourself, you start to go insane a little bit just because there's a lot of pressure, and the last thing that you need to do is make it more than what it is. So just being around people, being your normal self, trying to relax, and then you can always get ready for the night session.
One thing I love is to be in those back hallways watching guys warm up right before it's go time. Describe the feeling of being there with your coaches when it's like you look at each other and let's go, making the walk. What's that like?
There's a lot that builds up to it, but the most important thing you can do is you can always take in the atmosphere after, because if you get out there and you look around, you're like, okay, this is sick, and you don't want that to get in the way of how you're going to perform. So just really trying to understand it's such a big moment, but you also need to be able to bring it down and just focus on, what do I need to do out there? Well, I want to wrestle really hard. I want my effort. I want to get to my position. Says if you start to think about result or I have to win this match, so and so, you get out there and you freeze. So I had to wrestle against someone really, really good, so I had to make sure that I did the right thing, and I think I did do a good job of it. The match didn't go the way I wanted, but you have to be able to slow down and make sure that you just focus on wrestling.
Short time on mat number 1 in the first period.
I love what Stiles did there, locking his hands. McNeil is just holding on to that foot. That's so close to a takedown, and that's...
Stiles wants the brick. And the brick is tossed from the corner of Oregon State.
You have bricks. You need to use them, right? If it's that close in a match like this, you absolutely use it if you're Oregon State.
Max Stout of Pitt finishes as the winner on mat number 3, 7th place for Keith Gavin and the Panthers.
I think you're seeing another challenge on mat 2. Happel had a big lift and put Coderhunt down, and he went to roll through. I think they awarded the 3, and they're looking at it now.
Shapiro leading Zerbin inside of a minute remaining on mat number 4. And Shapiro with riding time of 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Good counter there from Shapiro. One of the slickest wrestlers in the nation, Meyer Shapiro. And Shapiro will spin around for 3 more. Hunter Garvin and Terrell Barraclaw set to wrestle on mat 3. And here is that call on mat 2, upper right. They are saying no takedown. They take 3 off the scoreboard. Back down to 4-2. 35 ticks remaining in this third period. Riding time a non-factor on 2.
Yeah, riding time not a factor. So Coderhunt needs a takedown. This is exactly where they were in the quarterfinals. Coderhunt was pressuring. Happel did a good job. I love that underhook.
Great job
right
to circle back in.
And circling and getting that underhook, when you're in over-under position, there's really nothing that the other guy can do when you lock that in. You're going to see him try to go big, but Happel's good at defending that. There you see head position. Good down block. Stay in your stance. Back to that over-under position. It's so hard for Coderhunt to do something. You see him go for that last-ditch effort.
They give 3 to Happel. And Cale Happel, 5th place for Northern Iowa. Got to feel so good to get that odd number.
Yeah, it really does, especially for Cale Happel that has had such a great career for UNI, leading the Panther train. See him show some emotion to the fans in his last career match. Finishing out as a winner, it feels really good.
I always like watching those guys come off the mat for that final time.
Yeah, you talk about culture. UNI, the entire team on the sideline giving him a hug. They know how much he's meant to the program and how good of a teammate he's been. When you have a culture like that, Shane, things get done on their own that coaches don't have to worry about. When you're a coach and you get a culture in place where the guys govern themselves and they motivate themselves and their teammates, it's like you can go to sleep at night knowing that you can trust your guys to do the right things, and I think that's what UNI does a great job at.
Doug Schwab has done a sensational, amazing, fantastic.
What else you got?
Name as many adjectives as you can.
Any other good ones?
I don't like the word unbelievable.
Okay.
I try not to. I try not to say the word unbelievable in broadcast.
Sure.
It's sports.
Right.
It's not unbelievable. Like,
yeah. Right.
Guy wins in sudden victory. Unbelievable. It's not unbelievable.
Yep.
Happens all the time. It can be incredible, spectacular, amazing. Sometimes I'll write down a list of like 10 of them and glance at them, clicking a broadcast. A little trick for you there.
This match
Doug Schwab's been great.
Yeah, and the match on mat 3, these guys met. I believe it was the first match of the season for both of the guys. It was back in November in the dual meet in Palo Alto at Stanford. Barraclaw won. He was up kind of big, and then Garvin almost clawed his way back, but he prevailed. So kind of interesting. I'm pretty sure this was the first match for both guys and the last match of the season. That's pretty rare.
You wonder how many times that's happened. Those are the things that are just fun to know. Like, I'll give you something just totally out of left field. Levi Haynes and Dean Hamady, when you go to WrestleStat, alphabetical order, they're next to each other.
Really?
Of all the times I've been on WrestleStat, all the times I go there, I don't remember another time where I prepared for a broadcast and saw that.
But how good WrestleStat
Totally
is.
Worthless nugget, but
how good is WrestleStat?
I live on that website.
I love WrestleStat.
It's great being able to access data in wrestling through technology. Because years back, when I was growing up, you waited for in Wisconsin, it was called Crossface. I'd wait for that to look at the results. The different publications, that's where you saw the results. Now you get it literally instantaneously.
Matt won. Lachlan McNeil finally got a takedown to close the gap to 4-3. It's a really good match.
Riding time's a non-factor there on mat 1. Chris Foca, Jackson Smith down on mat number 4. Barraclaw and Garvin, no score after 3 minutes. Barraclaw will go on bottom.
And if you're Garvin, with how good Barraclaw is on top, you got to get some riding time right here. I talked about it a little bit. Understanding that if I have to get off bottom in the third period, I want to see if I can get 30 to 40 seconds here to give myself a buffer in that third period. If I only get 10 seconds, it sets up Barraclaw to be able to put that ride on to get riding time. He's doing a good job so far.
And those are great points, Trent, because it's not necessarily that you're going for a minute. Like you said, big difference, huge difference, changes so much. The difference of riding a guy for 30 seconds or 5 seconds, because the guy's going to perhaps change match strategy at that point.
And I'll tell you where I really had to learn that. We talked about kind of my rivalry with Hunter Bull, and that's how I figured out that's really how I had to beat him, because it was so hard to take down, and he beat me a couple times on riding time just by a little bit. So when we got to NCAAs, I knew that I had to really commit to the ride on top. So instead of me picking down all the time like I usually did, and I won the toss, I got him to go down first, got a little bit of riding time, and then I was able to get out easier. So that's kind of where I learned that. It took me, close to 5 matches to do it, but that's why I start to see this a lot more in matches.
How many times did you wrestle Hunter Boland?
I think we wrestled 7 times. I know he beat me the first 3, and I won the next 4, but he did beat me in high school one time at the Northeast Regional at East Stroudsburg University in the freestyle finals. I'll never forget that. So I think we're still 4-4.
Someday you and Hunter Boland need to get together, go have dinner, talk about the good old days.
I hope so.
That's
too.
a great rivalry with you two. I mean, I remember that one before I knew you. It's like, here they go again. These guys get after it.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was great for Virginia Tech. When you lace up the shoes against Virginia Tech, you are in for a war. That was one of my favorite things about it, is you were never going to have an easy match.
Kind of like Jesse Mendez and Bo Bartlett. Someday those guys should stand up at each other's weddings.
I don't know if they'll be that close, but yeah, there's a lot of respect.
McNeil leading on mat 1. Believe another review taking place on 1. Mat number 2, you have Ruiz and DeVos. No score after the first period. Barraclaw, second period escape, I believe, for his 1 point. Foca up by 1 as well, early second, down on mat number 4. All these are 5th place matches. After this, we'll go right into 3rd place. My favorites medal matches, 3rd place.
Yep. Yeah, that's
3rd hits different.
A lot of elite wrestling there, as well as these 5th place matches. But you get to finish out with 3rd place, and like I said, 3rd. I got 4th place. It really was tough. So you want to do the best you can to finish with 3rd. You feel way better about yourself coming back into the afternoon. That is a really hard thing. And we have three stoppages right now. When you're in this tournament, whether you get knocked out of it or you finish this morning, coming back to watch the finals is kind of heartbreaking. That it's not really a fun experience. I know, you put a lot of hard work in, you finish and you feel great, and then you come back this afternoon and you just think about all the little things that, if I could have done that differently in that match, if I would have done that or finished that move, I could be there right now. And that's a hard feeling to go with, but I do also think it serves as a great way to motivate. You come back next year, there's no way I'm feeling like this. I'm putting myself back in the finals.
And it gets to be on that stage with all the other All-Americans. That's got to be pretty darn cool.
Absolutely, and that's what you train for. When you're in practice and you're in training, that thought is always in the back of your mind of walking out into that stage and wrestling in front of everybody.
Making the turns, acknowledging the crowd. I love watching that.
McNeil's done a great job getting himself back in this match. He gave up the first takedown. He was down 4-0. Scored 7 unanswered and is riding really hard, but Styles is so hard to control. This is going to be a fun last 40 seconds on mat 1.
On mat 2, Ruiz with 53 seconds of riding time as they reset with 1:07. They move to the third on mat number 4. One nothing. Barraclaw, the 1-0 lead, 50 seconds in the third period.
So in that match, right, 1-0 Barraclaw, third period, because Barraclaw's so good on top, Garvin chose to go neutral. See Barraclaw trying to put this match away. Garvin great at scrambling.
What a journey for Terrell Barraclaw. Utah native, goes to Penn State. Part of that great program, a valuable piece of that program's success. Follows Adam Hall to Utah Valley.
So this is really important here. I talked about earlier in the quarterfinal round, Barraclaw shot when he was winning and got go behind. I really think he'll make an adjustment here. I'll be surprised to see if he takes a shot back here. You got to just focus on head-hands defense. Garvin's going to try one last sprint.
Keeping his feet moving, continues to circle, staying right on that NCAA logo. Terrell Barraclaw of Utah Valley, 5th place. Adam Hall's first All-American.
You love to see him make that adjustment. Right, you lose a heartbreaker in the quarterfinals because you made maybe it was a mental lapse and you took that shot and you got scored on. Now getting that same opportunity later in the tournament to do it a little bit differently and get your hand raised.
Stephen Little, Joseph Novak, mat number 1. Chris Foca in control on mat number 4. On mat 2, DeVos and Ruiz 1-1, but Ruiz does have the riding time at 1:14. Greg Kirkfleet's injury defaults to Owen Treffin for 5th place.
Owen Treffin, 5th place. What a season for him. Great to get that 5th place finish, and obviously no match with Greg Kirkfleet, but getting that 5th place finish, awesome job for Treffin.
So we have a 3rd place match on mat number 3 with CJ Composto and Bo Bartlett. Penn State, 10 All-Americans, all in the top 6. And Chris Foca finishes 5th place at 184 for Cornell.
Foca was another guy last season that had a really tough go at it. He was 3rd place finisher a couple years ago and then had a tough season last year. So it's really cool to see him finish out his career on a high note, 5th place finish.
Two-time All-American Chris Foca. Said it a million times, Trent. This sport changes you.
It does. You saw, Foca coming off the mat, just super emotional, and when it sinks in that that's your last collegiate match, it does. The sport changes for the better, and it just, you love college wrestling. You want to do it as long as you can, and obviously your body will give out on you, but it's great when you can go out on your own terms in college wrestling.
A lot of these guys been on the mat since they were young kids, 4, 5, 6 years old. A lot of time, a lot of travel, a lot of commitment. But I would say this, you have a young son or daughter at home, get them involved in this sport. If there's anything you take from me over these last few days, get your kids in wrestling. Short time on mat number 2. Ruiz has the riding time and try to hang on, and he will. Foca and Ruiz. Big wins for the Big Red.
You see that challenge brick come out by South Dakota State, probably, you know, what they kind of call a YOLO brick. You have it, it's the last opportunity. DeVos did a great job getting on the shot, but Ruiz was stingy, kept his hands locked, didn't allow him to square up and get the takedown.
Mat number 4, third place at 125 pounds, Lilidol and Ramos, the top 2 seeds. Lilidol beat Ramos in the Big Ten semis. That was Ramos's first loss of the season. In that match, Lilidol put Ramos on his back early. Got out to a 7-0 lead, and hard to come back from that kind of deficit against a guy like Lilidol.
A lot of people are excited about this being a potential final. 1 and 2 seeds, and we get to see it for third place. See what Ramos can do, you know, reverse that result from Big Tens.
Novak up on Little 3-0. Midway through the second period, up on mat number 1, upper left. Short time in the first period. Bo Bartlett gets a takedown, takes a 3-1 advantage to the second period, and Matt Ramos strikes first. The Boilermaker up 3-0.
If you're watching Matt 4, that was an awesome setup by Ramos. He went 2 hands to 1, pushed it off for a bit of an elbow pass, and then attacked a low double for an easy takedown. When you're wrestling guys that are so good at scrambling, sometimes single legs can be really difficult to finish. Anytime you can collect 2 ankles, that's huge.
Novak over a minute and a half of riding time. And now here is Lilidol with a leg attack. Lilidol looking to finish.
They'll be ready for a roll by Ramos. He stops the roll, collects the ankles. 28 seconds, wants to really ride this period out.
Both guys with a takedown in this opening period. 4-3 for Lilidol. You're right, 20 seconds left. Looking for a possible turn there late. It'll go 4-3, second period. Fugit and Romney on mat 2. Romney, early takedown, now 3-1 after that escape. Lilidol going on bottom, quick escape. That might have been less than a second. And now on mat number 3, Bo Bartlett looking for a fall. He's got him tight. Composto fighting. That butcher, that barbed wire position for Bo Bartlett. Down to 10 seconds. Bridge from Composto, and the Quaker will live to see the third period. 4 for Bartlett. And he has opened things up now, 10-2. Five unanswered for Lilidol, the Nittany Lion, 5-3 lead. Third place match at 125 pounds, down on mat number 4. Your bottom right, the top 2 seeds. Ankle pick attempt there from Lilidol.
Quick ankle pick.
He is so quick. Both these guys got some quicks.
Yeah, look for him to chase re-attack here. He's got that underhook. He's going to try to bounce that out and free his hand. Ramos just had a tight grip on the elbow.
Short time in the first period. Romney, 3-1 lead over the Badger. with the riding time points. An 8-0 major decision for Novak of Wyoming. 5th place for Mark Branch and the Cowboys.
Awesome tournament.
He's
Novak.
tough. He is tough. Got to call a match with him. Called a couple of his matches, and he's really tough.
He lost 2nd round, comebacks to get 3rd. That is a lot of winning on the backside. I call it making your money on the backside. You know, that effort that you put in there, you may not feel like it pays off this tournament. Obviously, you know, it does with Novak for getting 3rd, but it's like money in the bank kind of. You're depositing money in the bank.
Trent, we must be so zoned in right now because I'm going to let you finish your thought, and then I was going to bring up Dave Malachek, head coach at UW La Crosse. We always talk about it. Throughout the season, you're making deposits. You're making deposits. And at national tournaments, high level of events, you are making some big withdrawals. You better have sufficient funds, Trent. Bo Bartlett, what a career for the Penn State Nittany Lion. Goes out with a 3rd place finish. I'm going to miss guys like Bo Bartlett.
He's been a staple in Penn State's lineup. He's done a ton of winning. You know, a national finalist, All-American a ton of times. Finished a great career in 3rd place.
Shane Van Ness and Dylan D'Amelio on mat number 1. Trevor Chumbley and Tyler Kasak coming up on mat number 3. Lillidahl up on Ramos by 1. That's on mat number 4. Riding time and on factor as they wrestle neutral with 50 seconds left. Shot there by Ramos, and Lillidahl puts the Boilermaker on his back. Lillidahl gets the fall. Lillidahl, 3rd place for Penn State.
I loved how he caught that underhook off of Ramos' shot, whipped it over, got the fall. They score so many bonus points, so many pins, and those pins add up for a huge total in the team score.
Congratulations to Luke Lillidahl, and congratulations as well to Matt Ramos, a 2-time All-American for Tony Ersland and the Boilermakers. Got to tell you, Trent, I get a little bit down knowing this is the end for some of these guys. Saw Bartlett, Matt Ramos, get to know these guys a little bit in conversations, and I just can't. They're great wrestlers, and it sounds so cliche, but it's just so true. These are awesome guys.
Yeah, and you get to follow a lot of these guys for 4 or 5, in some cases 6 years, and then whenever it's in their last match, it seems like it's hard to let go. And one thing I'd love to see, Shane, and I guess this would probably be my magic wand, is I would love for people to get a little more passionate about following guys' careers in freestyle. You go to the U.S. Open later in April, and you'll see multiple-time All-Americans, national champions wrestling in the 2nd, 3rd round, and there's not as much excitement for those guys. Obviously, there's a huge connection with college and following your college wrestler, but I would love to see, people really pour into following these guys throughout their career, and I feel like that's what I've been blessed with. At NC State, I've continued my career and freestyle-wise. I'm still getting a ton of support, and it does make it makes a big deal for a guy like me that wants to continue doing it, and knowing that I still have support and I still have fans, because these guys we get better. After college, it's better wrestling, and I know it's hard to realize that because this tournament is so cool, but the wrestling continues to elevate, and as you get on that senior level, man, it's some of the best wrestling that you can watch. So I guess that maybe be my magic wand, people pouring into the senior level a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, amazing talent at these tournaments. Tyler Kasak looking for another 3rd place finish, wrestling Trevor Chumbley. Minto and Hall on mat number 4. These are all 3rd place matches. Romney doubling up Fugit 4-2, mat number 2. Shane Van Ness. That was slick. Now up 6-2 on D'Amelio. Got his riding time already over a minute. Wants to wrestle on his feet as he gives the escape. Championship finals on ESPN tonight. 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Shane Van Ness has D'Amelio tight. D'Amelio able to roll through. Good mat return there by Ncaa on mat number 3.
It's going to be an exciting finish here on mat 2. Fuga down 4-2. 57 seconds left, no riding time. He's got to get a takedown to win. Romney's just so hard to score on.
Peyton Hall has a cradle locked up on mat number 4. Loses the grip. Stays behind Minto. That's a 5-4 match. Hall with riding time at 45 seconds, building towards 60. Short time in the first. Big 15 seconds right here.
Yeah, and Hall's one of those guys where you want to see go out on top. He's had an incredible season, and he's someone that always seems to give up the first takedown, and then he battles back and puts a lot of points on the board. He's super fun to watch.
Second period in the book on mat number 1. We start neutral. Mat number 1 with D'Amelio and Van Ness. Three more. Van Ness was third in 2023 in Tulsa. And there is Zeth Romney on mat number 2 for Cal Poly. He is third place at 133.
Great performance by Romney and getting that shutdown takedown at the end. Good head hands defense. Fuga had to come after him, get that go behind, get the 7-2 win. But
I love Fuga. I mean, a couple of seconds left, just keeps wrestling hard. It's a 7-3 final. Ncaa, 2 minutes and 20 seconds of riding time. He's a junkyard dog, Tyler Ncaa.
Tough as they come. Tell you what, Van Ness needs 2 takedowns for a tech fall. You know he's going to be looking for it on mat 1. For D'Amelio, hand fight this out. Finish this match hard. Hand fight as hard as you can.
Nittany Lion will be back. This will be the end of the road for Dylan D'Amelio at Ohio State. An amazing career. Talk about a guy leaving his mark, leaving the program in a better place. That's what Dylan D'Amelio did in Columbus. He'll leave as a 2-time All-American. (15-4). With the riding time point, a major decision. Shane Van Ness, for the second time in his career, a third-place finish at the national tournaments. One more bow to close the season from Shane Van Ness.
Great season by Van Ness. Lost that tight match with Ridge Lovett in the semifinals, and like a lot of the Penn State guys have done in the consolations, is battle back, get in that third place match and get bonus points.
Levi Haynes and Patrick Kennedy on mat number 2. Early third, Peyton Hall, the Mountaineer. 12-5 lead with over 2 minutes of riding time. Dustin Plott and Max McAnally now. Third place match, Matt 1 upper left.
Yeah, this could be one of the best third place matches that we have. McAnally's so solid positionally. Plott in the same. He's got great single leg attacks. See if Plott can crack that defensive code of McAnally.
Single leg there by Plott, but those hips. Talked about it before, Trent. Those number one seeds that lose in the semis to come back and take third.
Hard to do.
Extremely hard to do. I would love it. I know they take a picture with all the champs. I wish they took a picture of all the guys with third place. If somebody said to me, Shane, you got your choice. You want a picture with all 10 champs or all 10 guys that took third? To me, it is an easy choice. I want to talk to the guys that took third.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth that comes from those matches, and we've talked about it all weekend long, being able to respond, putting yourself in position to get the next best thing. It feels really good to finish out that tournament for third.
Haynes, first period takedown on mat number 2. Last season, Ncaa, as a true freshman, lost in the opening round. He came back to win 7 straight and take third. Here in 2025, the number 1 seed lost. In the, man, that was in the quarterfinals. I'm wrong. I thought he lost in the semis. He lost in the quarters to Blaze. My mistake.
Quarters to Marcus Blaze.
At any rate, he comes back again, gets the next best thing. Tyler Ncaa. Hug from assistant coaches Nick Lee and Cody Sanderson. Back-to-back third-place finishes for Tyler Ncaa. Man, losing in the quarters and coming back.
Yeah, and having to win in the blood round. It's a hard round to win in. Just kept his winning ways going. And Peyton Hall, third place, that was on mat 4. See a lot of big hugs from the West Virginia coaching staff. Peyton Hall is someone that you love to see for a similar reason with Patrick Kennedy. Peyton Hall is from West Virginia, right? A hometown product. Means a lot to that program. We talk about looking at wrestlers that just mean a lot to the school. Peyton Hall means a lot to West Virginia. Coming off of last year, he was a guy that I have a feeling a lot of people were probably trying to reach out and go to a bigger school. And you know, he made a post going into this season that he's a very loyal person. You know, staying at West Virginia, finishing out his career with the coaching staff that did a great job with him. It means a lot.
And when you stay at a place, you're the guy coming back. They're bringing you back at events. You're with your family then, waving to the crowd, doing all that fun stuff. I mean, that's legacy.
There's a lot of value there. And, you know, we talk about NIL, transfer portal. Yes, there's a lot of money being talked about, but the value of having support and the value of being alumni at a place that you're treated really good, there's not a dollar sign for it, but I promise you, I've experienced it firsthand. To be able to be a part of a program that really, you know, that means a lot to you, and you know that you mean a lot to them, it is a special thing.
No score with Plott and McAnally after the first period. Cardenas and Ferrari coming up on mat 3. 60 seconds into the first period on mat number 4 at heavyweight. It is Trumbull and Schultz. Haynes with the lead on mat number 2. Short time in the second period.
Rubber match for Trumbull and Schultz. Schultz pinned Trumbull at the Journeyman Collegiate Classic early in the year. Trumbull reversed that result, I believe, at the Cliff Keen Classic. So third place match, third meeting. See who comes out on top.
Final 4 matches of this session. Big thanks to our producer, Cam Ellsbury. Mark Labuda, our director. And how about Calvin Dennis, our A2? He's been hanging with us this entire time. These people work so hard, long hours. We get to do the fun stuff, talking about wrestling. It's just been a real privilege and an honor to have you join us. Trent, it's been a blast, man. Looking forward to doing this again.
Man, we've had an awesome time. This is my first time with the MATCAST, but first time kind of doing an upper level production. I got some experience at ACCs and definitely feel like I'm learning a lot. And just to be able to take in all these matches, I know, like, I'm such a big fan of wrestling as it is, and it makes it hard when you're a competitor to try to separate yourself from it and not get too worked up. But to be able to take in almost every single match, it's a little exhausting. But there's nothing.
No place you'd rather be. Exactly.
Nothing I'd rather do to get myself that tired than to watch all this wrestling. And I know hopefully everybody enjoyed the coverage back home. I know I had a blast.
Did a great job. You got a great eye for this sport. Your experience speaks for itself. On mat number 1, Plot with riding time at 1:17. He's been able to ride McAnally this entire second period. Cardenas and Ferrari, no score on mat number 3. Schultz, the Sun Devil, goes on bottom here in this second period. Levi Haynes able to roll Kennedy through and score the takedown. Boy, oh boy, was that slick. And with that takedown, Haynes in position for the major decision. He'll get the riding time points, 11-3. The three-time All-American Levi Haynes, third here in Philadelphia. Out of Arndsville, Pennsylvania. Schultz escapes up on Trumbull. Dustin Plott rode McAnally the entire second period.
That's that toughness we've been talking about from Dustin Plott, and he shows it in so many different ways. Being able to ride for a whole 2 minutes. Now, McAnally's going to make that decision to go neutral because you're not going to ride Plott for 2 minutes after that.
Shot there from Plott, looking for the go behind. McAnally likes to work off that drag.
Yeah, and that's a really fundamental technique that's becoming really important in wrestling. Off of a re-attack, instead of trying to dive for their legs, get that drag, get weight on their hands, and then you can attack that leg. And McAnally's done a really good job, but so has Plott. I've watched a lot of his wrestling this year. It's a great shot by McAnally.
Great shot below the knee, shin whizzer as Plott spins around behind. Now into a front headlock.
And look for that drag. Look for that drag by Plott. Okay, they're doing that drag. Guys are coming up. If you can get weight on the hands, it allows you to get to that leg. That's going to be a point because he got a stall call earlier in the match. Great job by Plott. You knew you got a stall call in the first period. You get him to the edge, take him out, make the referee call stalling, and now you get that extra point. Great job by Dustin Plott.
So now a 2-0 lead for the Cowboy.
And why that's important. Okay, now up 2-0. If you get taken down,
you can escape.
You can escape and tie the match up at 3-3.
Another attack here from McAnally below the knee.
If you're Plott, come up. Don't stay down here. Continue to come up. Squeeze that ankle. Now you got to pressure back in. We saw this position last night. Beat that dive rope. Now the takedown.
And McAnally takes the 3-2 lead. 38 seconds to go.
So if you're Plott, because you got that stall call earlier, you just need an escape. If you're McAnally, anything you can do to ride out these 36 seconds, but you do have 2 stall calls on you.
Got to be careful here.
So this is a good opportunity for both guys to reset. In the Oklahoma State corner, they're saying, okay, go get your escape, tie this up, and win on our feet. If you're the Minnesota corner, you're saying, McAnally, listen, you're the toughest guy out on this mat right now. You got to find it within yourself to go ride this out for 36 seconds. What would you rather do? Cut him and get on your feet, or do the hard things and get this ride out for the win. Okay, now this is interesting.
Giving him the escape.
Okay, giving him the escape, and why he's doing that. When you're McAnally in that 36 seconds, when you're really trying hard to ride, it's easy to give up that stall call, and you don't want to give up the stall call and the escape. So, if you're McAnally, you gave up that stall call and the escape.
Quick shot off the whistle from McAnally, or from Plott rather. McAnally counters, he scores the 3, and he's up 6-3.
It's that match strategy, Shane. Great job by the Minnesota coaching staff, knowing that their athlete has what it takes to get the takedown. Don't risk being on top and giving up a stall call and an escape to lose the match. Cut him loose, go get the winning takedown, and now he's 20 seconds away from 3rd place.
Here in Philly, championship habits, match tactics, strategy. So now 6-4. Final 10 seconds. McAnally can give up another stall call here, but instead he drops it on a leg. And the redshirt freshman from Minnesota, Max McAnally, 3rd place at 184.
And that was great by McAnally because he couldn't give up another stall call because Plott had riding time. If he gave up a stall, it was going to go 6-6. He knew Plott was going to be coming. He got to the leg, avoided the stall call. Amazing season by Max McAnally. We're going to be talking about him a lot this offseason, but really want to give credit to Dustin Plott. What an amazing career. Great job by both guys giving us a show in this 3rd place match.
4-time All-American Dustin Plott. Warrior. Colton Schultz defeating Isaac Trumbull. Colton Schultz, another guy, a ton of winning in that Arizona State singlet. Multiple-time All-American.
He's an all-time Sun Devil.
He is.
One of the best they've ever had. You talked about him on the call earlier a couple weeks ago. He talked about stepping into a leadership this year for Sun Devils, or for Arizona State, and a couple of his teammates, a lot of this stuff happening with Arizona State and guys leaving, but he stayed. He knew he wanted to challenge himself and become a great leader, and that's what he did for Arizona State this year. 3rd place finisher in Colton Schultz.
Cardenas goes on bottom, 3rd period, down by 1.
And this really is a position that Ferrari wants to be in. He's been here all the time. He got his escape, and he got it quick. So now he's going to try to get riding time. Cardenas is so explosive on bottom. So you saw that flurry there. It was less than 10 seconds. Cardenas popped up to his feet. Ferrari took him out of bounds. You're going to see a lot of these, and we'll see if Ferrari can stay on top.
When I think about this tournament once again, I go back to the famous words of a good friend of mine, Jim Makovsky, the head coach at Minnesota State, and he always says, there is not a horse that can't be rode and a cowboy that can't be thrown. And that was this tournament here in Philadelphia. Nobody was safe. So many great matches. Guys show up at the national tournaments.
Cardenas was so close to getting out there. He looked for a switch and was allowed. If you're Cardenas here, you really don't want to give Ferrari an opportunity to follow you. And if you look for a switch or you look for a rule that's going to allow him to follow and get a breakdown, your best bet is getting to your feet but staying in the center of the mat. Every time you get to the edge, it goes into the favor of Ferrari. Get to your feet, sink your hips down, start peeling hands, get hand control, and try your best to stay in the center. Obviously really hard with a guy as strong as Ferrari is. Those deadlift numbers are coming in handy right now. You got to stay in the center of the mat,
What's he at? I mean, it was 665. I think he's increased.
I think he hit 665 last week or so. I thought I saw a video, and that is insane. I can tell you right now, a guy like me is not hitting those numbers.
That's a guy, like, if you ever move, you call up AJ Ferrari, he puts the washer and the dryer in one trip on his back.
Yep, and that's where, as crazy as it sounds, like that really comes into handy in situations right now. Being able to push a guy to the edge and lift in return, and what he does over and over again. Said Cardenas, the key here is getting to your feet, sinking your hips low, getting your center of gravity low, and finding hands.
Of course, AJ's brother Angelo, bright star for the Iowa Hawkeyes, had a phenomenal true freshman season.
Killing a lot of clock right now. You see his head putting a lot of pressure on Cardenas. Now this is a good job by Cardenas, but he's getting to the edge, and you see Ferrari, all that weight is going into Cardenas' shoulder and his head. That's exactly what you want to do on top.
Down to 50 seconds. Ferrari's got riding time at 41 seconds.
"19 seconds away from that riding time point. He doesn't have any stall calls.
Takes an ankle off the whistle, and it is a caution on Ferrari.
Good job by the referee catching that. Ferrari moved just a second quick. They got the clock reset. Talk about those clock people. They do it. They've done a phenomenal job.
The volunteers, those that work this tournament, across the board, amazing. Ferrari switches sides off of that restart. There's that front trip down to 40 seconds. There's good mat awareness there from Ferrari, and now out of bounds.
Exactly what I was saying, what Ferrari's doing, getting Cardenas to the edge. And you hear the crowd not like it a little bit. You understand that, but understand as a top wrestler, that is the winning formula right now. I don't care how I'm going to get the riding time, I'm going to get it. And he does a good job without doing it in a way that's not getting hit for stalling. If he does it again, he'll probably get hit for stalling, but he only needs 8 more seconds to get that riding time. Pressure on the head. That's the key right now. What Ferrari's doing is pressure down on the head.
And now a stall call on Ferrari. Riding time is at 1 minute.
Stall call on Ferrari, and basically what the ref's saying is, hey, I know you're not looking for a turn, I know what you're doing, and you keep doing the same thing. Ferrari's telling him to hurry up, but stall call is not a terrible thing. He can either cut him because he has a minute of riding time, or he can ride the whole time. What you don't want to do is give up that stall call and an escape.
Roll from Cardenas. Ferrari stays with him. Ferrari with riding time locked up. A national champion in 2021 and third place in 2025, AJ Ferrari. Good sign of respect from Ferrari. The only way to end the session is with the splits from AJ.
You're about to see it.
Head coach Luke Smith, Ferrari gives him the lateral drop. Keeping things loose.
Something with the ankle band. Nope. All right, here we go. He's taking his first call. Let's go, Shane.
1 of 1, AJ Ferrari. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much again for joining us here in Philly on ESPN Plus, our MATCAST coverage. Reminding you tonight, ESPN, the National Championship Final, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. It has been a blast for our entire MATCAST production crew alongside Trent Hadley. I'm Shane Sparks saying so long from the city of brotherly love.